Now, one of the most intriguing battles in Power Book 2 Ghost is Kane vs Tariq. But if we were to take a deeper look into their backstories, the way both Kane and Tariq grew up was the total opposite. On one hand, you had Tariq who grew up with a very privileged background with both his parents, good education, and living high up away from the streets, and Ghost tried his hardest to keep Tariq away from living a life of misery, something which Tariq is now realizing because he wants out of the game himself. But on the other hand, you had Kane with parents who were very open and honest from day one about who they were, the line of work they were in, and why Lorenzo was in prison. So we saw each one of these kids involved in the organization in some way, not just Kane. But this was a life that was embedded into Kane very early on, but one which was chosen for him, which was the Tejada muscle. So where he may not have chosen his path, Tariq did. Tariq wanted to be his own man and wanted to be in the game, so we saw him being mentored by people like Kane and Dre, and eventually Tasha accepting him for who he wanted to be. But without knowing, he also picked up traits from Ghost, and we've seen so many similarities between him and his father. And one classic example is how he unknowingly behaves the same way with Brayden as Ghost did with Tommy. He keeps certain secrets and made moves behind his back, believing it was in Brayden's best interest, not knowing the full story. And this is something we're gonna come full circle to when we discuss how Kane believed he was supposed to kill Lorenzo. But first, let's get a better understanding of this hatred that Kane grew for Tariq, which started in Season 1. So when we were introduced to Kane and the rest of the Tejadas, we saw each kid has a role to play, where Monet may have been at the head of the table on the outside. Lorenzo was still calling the shots from inside prison. The position they had Kane playing was a soldier, but as we all know, Kane wanted more. And when Monet started to work with Tariq, seeing her mom give him more responsibility, this is what causes Kane to start rebelling. And watching Power Book 2 Ghost Season 1 back, a similar trait that Kane has to Monet is he likes control, which is why he liked working with Lil Guap. He knows he could intimidate and control him, which is what they were portraying with Kane's character at the beginning. He was the muscle and the shooter from the very first episode, and someone who did exactly what Monet ordered. But the problem was, he's never come across a kid like Tariq St. Patrick, who doesn't do as he's told. He's also someone who's had plenty of guns held to his face before, held off a roof, held for ransom by one of the most coldest characters on Power, and beaten by Vincent and the Italian mob. So Tariq was someone who'd been through a lot more than Kane first thought, and he was certainly underestimating him. He even said he probably doesn't even know how to use the gun when he was forced to give him his piece, which definitely would have hurt Kane's ego. And Tariq quickly showed how shrewd and smarter he was than Kane when he realized Uncle Frank was a snitch. So he quickly realized Tariq isn't someone you can really control with the way he checked him in episode 2. And it's not the last time Tariq checked Kane, but we're gonna get to that in season 2's analysis. But Monet agreeing to work with Tariq really did irritate Kane because of this control aspect, and where she was choosing to work with outsiders instead of family, along with choosing Drew to go to Stansfield instead of Kane. And this is where we saw the foundation being built for this huge fallout between Kane and Monet, which was only going to get worse because Kane started to rebel by taking Brayden and Trace and putting them to work on the corners of Queens, knocking Monet to the floor, which was the beginning of Kane being fully replaced by Tariq. But Kane went against the family time and time again, and especially when he decided to team up with the Guaps when he sent Bars to kill Tariq, because he thought if he gets rid of Tariq, Monet will want him back. But what he failed to realize was Tariq was the only reason the Tada organization was making money, because they had a real smart operation under Tariq with Course Correct at Stansfield, because he built a sophisticated method which not only Tariq could hide behind, but something which also kept the Tejadas off the radar. And what topped it off was Tariq had Brayden, who was a rich and privileged kid with connections, who knew how to move. So what Tariq built was very low risk compared to being on the streets, where Lil Guap was putting a lot of attention on them through his social media. Now Tariq could have run this operation until he left Stansfield, and they really would have made a lot of money together, but Tariq was responsible for a lot more than just this. He was the reason why Zeke was playing ball. He saved Diana's life when Rico shot up Monet's bar. Monet also knew she could trust him because he held it down when she questioned him about Drew after she saw the drawing in his bag. So Tariq was the foundation to the Tada organization in more ways than one, but Kane failed to realize his value because he was so fixated in trying to get his position back, because he believed they couldn't trust him, which, let's not get it twisted, he probably will be proven right. But at this moment in time, Tariq was the Tejada's only way. But Monet bringing Tariq in really changed the way Kane felt, and at the end of the day, nothing tears a family apart more than money, betrayals, and this quest for power. And this is the reason why Kane kept going against the family, killing Ramirez being the reason why the GTG went after Zeke, as well as keeping Lil Guap alive for his own cause.
Shit, I don't even trust him.
I told you I was the one you could trust the most.
And this was Kane's problem as we finished season 1 of Ghost. He wanted to be family first, but his actions proved otherwise, and now Monet put her trust in Tariq over Kane. So as we moved into season 2, Kane was in a position where he felt pushed out by both Monet and Lorenzo, even when he found a new connect, and this is where we started to see Kane move a little different. He was making strategic based decisions to get back in with the Tejadas, not just with the position he had before, but he became the link between the Tejadas and Mecca, because he switched Monet's product for the powdered sugar, which gave Monet no option but to accept Kane's connect. Of course, we can't forget about Mecca's mentoring and his manipulation, but we also saw Kane taking in a lot of knowledge about the game from Mecca. So this brings us back to the control aspect, where we establish Kane wants more control over Tariq, which he never had in season 1. But Mecca taught Kane, if you want to control someone like Tariq St. Patrick, you need to find the weak link, and his weak spot was this rich kid, Braden Weston. So we saw Kane cleverly using Braden, manipulating him, and using him against Tariq, and also planting the badge in Tariq's drawer, which ended up with Tariq taking the rap for the murder charges of Ramirez and Jabari. But here's the thing, even though Kane was able to control and manipulate Braden, he failed to see the whole chessboard, and something Law 15 teaches us from the 48 Laws of Power is never give the opportunity for your enemy to come back, and then we saw this reaction.
I built the system with Tariq, and even though he's out on bail, I figured I'd repurpose my white privilege.
So as we established in the analysis for season 1, even though Kane did get brief control over Tariq, he doesn't have the ability to keep the control, because Tariq has always been smarter than him. But it did take Tariq ending up in jail and a hallucination scene of Kanan for him to see the whole chessboard, but when he did, he realized what he needed to do with Kane. And rewinding it back to power for a moment, Tasha once taught Tariq, sometimes you have to get rid of someone to get them out of your way. But Tariq knew it wasn't the right time to attack someone like Kane. He knew he needed to work together for the greater good, but eventually Tariq knows Kane is a ticking time bomb, and he'll come for him again. And this is where I think Effie could help him get rid of Kane at some point in the future, maybe in season 4, 5, or 6, because at this moment in time, Kane really is a valuable asset to Power Book 2 Ghost. Now, before we get to season 3, we really can't forget about how Tariq checked Kane, not once, but twice.
Know who the fuck I am? Get the fuck out of here.
Now's not the time to act like you know what the fuck you're doing, alright? Because I know you don't. Listen up. I killed my dad to save my family.
And again, linking this back to the analysis from season 1, this comes back to how Kane really underestimated Tariq with what he's been through and what he's done. And he quickly realized it's not easy to do what Tariq did, which was pulling the trigger on your own father.
You ain't risking your life for some shit you don't.
But why are you always worried about me? When you need to worry about what it is that you need to do.
And what Tariq said here really does summarize this whole video perfectly. Kane's obsession with Tariq. He's always been worried about Tariq and trying to be better than him when he really needs to focus on himself. So as we move into Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3, there's going to be a few changes in terms of this relationship between both Kane and Tariq. And I guess you could say, Kane will definitely see Tariq in a different light compared to before, because he now knows what he's done in the past. He's also seen what he's capable of, and he knows Tariq is more smarter and more strategic than him, as well as now knowing Tariq is the foundation to the Tejada organization. But where they may start Season 3 working together, can they really work harmoniously together for the duration of Season 3, 4, or 5? I don't think so, because something will give between them, and my money's on Kane doing something behind Tariq's back once again, which is why Tariq will have to get rid of him.
Ma, snitches ain't shit.
Boy, let me tell you something. Sometimes, you gotta turn somebody in to get them out your way.
So with that being said, drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and let me know your thoughts about this relationship between Kane and Tariq going into Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.